go. I think we kind of naturally go to the happiness part is going around what we speak about. So let's talk about
Yes,
that actually. What is
yes.
the role of faith in happiness?
Yeah, look, it was very interesting for me while I was going through this course. It's available on Coursera, The Science of Well-Being, right, by Yale
Mm,
University.
yeah.
So it's a very, very good course. And it tells you what science says, empirical research about happiness, right?
Mm,
So one of the key things that you will see is that, research is showing that what we think makes us happy is not what actually makes us happy, right?
mm,
So when you ask people, I will be happy if blanks, right? So people can put, if I get a new car, if I get the new house, if I get more money, if I land this job, and you get different things. But then research shows that this is very, very temporary. It's not that these things
mm,
don't make us happy, but they don't make us as happy or as long as we think, right? They
mm,
have done research on people who won the lottery, right? So they have
mm,
become millionaires or billionaires, in a moment, right? And you will imagine
mm,
that these
mm,
people will live happily ever after. Guess what? Doesn't happen. So what happens
mm,
was they got happy for a certain period of time, and then their happiness went back exactly where it was before the lottery.
mm,
And the same happens
mm,
for people who get unfavorable circumstances and life difficulties. They also go through a period of unhappiness, but then they return to their level of happiness, and this they call the hedonic treadmill or the hedonic adaptation, right?
yeah.
So the impact of these things we kind of overestimate in our minds very often, and we think that this is going to be a long-term and sustainable thing. And I think it was Daniel Gilbert, who had a very
Mm,
kind of good quote. He said, "You think that the new car is going to make you happy because it will run for longer, but this is exactly what will disappoint you, that it will stay there and will disappoint you." Right?
mm, mm,
Because the car that you were very happy with at the beginning when you bought it, after a few years, it has become a disappointment for you, right? You
yeah.
have adapted,
Yeah.
to its
Yeah.
existence so much that it has become not worthwhile for you anymore, right? So they've done this research on so many things, Dimitar, right? So on
Mm,
grades, on true love, on having the fame, having the perfect body, anything that you can think of. So many studies, so many variations of it, it actually yields the same result. And then what are the things that actually we think that it doesn't make that they don't make us happy, and they do make us happy, right?
mm,
Again, supported with empirical research, it will show you that savoring, counting your blessings, this is something that makes us happy, right? And guess what? You will find this in almost every religion, right? That we should be grateful for what we've been given. We've given a lot of blessings that we don't feel, we don't appreciate anymore. We need to take a step back and think a bit about how lucky we are and how blessed we are with all what we have, right? There are exercises that people now do in order to try and remember things that they are grateful for, and to do this even every day as a part of their meditation and everything. You've got giving away, right? That was amazing research. You might want to check it. Elizabeth Dunn, she wrote a book and she had a TED talk about that, how giving away makes us happier than using the resources for ourselves, right?
mm,
So they've actually asked people to spend $100 that they are given either on themselves or on someone else, and then they measured their happiness for the following 2 weeks, and they found that those who actually made someone else happy got happier themselves, right?
yeah.
So you feel that that we need that. We are searching for something beyond the tangible. We feel it as human beings, right? We feel that we are not like monkeys. We're not evolved monkeys. That we have something moral inside us. We have some kind
Mm,
of compass inside us. And look, when we speak about happiness, right? Happiness is obligatory. Like everyone wants to be happy. No one wants
mm,
to be unhappy, right? But it is about where to search for happiness, right? And where to search for
mm,
happiness. So take, for example, people who are doing drugs, right? They are searching for their
mm,
own happiness, but they are searching
yep.
in the wrong place, right?
Mm, mm,
So here, the thing is, we need some guidance. We need a compass to tell us where to actually look for the new happiness, the real happiness, right? Where to look for the real happiness, because our views are blurred, right? Our views become blurred. We have, and in this course, they speak also about the cognitive biases, right? We've got some cognitive biases, Dimitar, and they are not easy to overcome, right? So they are exactly like the optical illusion. Remember these, lines that you see, the line in the same length. One time it's pulled outwards and sometimes pulled inwards, and you will always think that the one that is pulled inwards is actually shorter, right? So even if you know that it's the same size, you still see it shorter. All right. So that shows you how our vision is always blurred, because we have our biases, our desires, right? And we need some kind of, compass or some kind of guidance to tell us where to search for the real happiness, because things are not what they seem to be, right? Another thing that you will see also that brings happiness, we sometimes underestimate this, is social connection, right? Having social connection with others. And there is the famous Harvard study that spanned more than 50 years, and they've seen that actually longevity and health were very much related with your, people you love and the circle of acquaintances that you have, to support you and around you, right? One thing that is very important as well is not to think of happiness as joy, right? So happiness is not like, you are sitting in front of TV doing nothing, or you're sitting on the beach. You will need that. You will need that kind of relaxation from time to time. But if you look at the work of Mihaly, for example, about flow, right? So the moments of happiness are really moments that you are very productive and very much in the flow and very much being creative, very much, adding value, generating something, right? So what we don't understand is that, sometimes our moments of hard work are actually very important moments of happiness.
Absolutely, man. So when it comes to faith, so all of these things you shared with me, can you summarize it when it comes to faith? How faith is into that game?
Yes. Look, because if you look, at faith, what does it ask you to do, right? It asks you to be kind to people. It asks you to be modest, right? To avoid arrogance, to avoid attachment to material things, right? If you look at the stories of the prophets, for example, the way they lead, the way they are humble, the way they deal, with people, right? The way they, for example, the way they fast, right? Now we hear about the benefits of intermittent fasting, but they fast because they wanted to feel what the poor feel who don't have adequate food, right? So it's, it all, if you are, really, following these teachings, you will see that they very much coincide with what we are learning, about it, right? Social interaction, being, close to people, being approachable, right? Not being arrogant. What else? Meditation, for example, meditation, the core of meditation is actually focusing on one thing, right? And that's what many people do in their prayer, right? You focus on one thing, you focus on your bigger purpose, right? You try and get away, from the distractions. You try to quiet the noise, right? Turn the volume down, a little bit, correct?
Yeah.
Also, very importantly, about purpose, right? So faith gives you purpose, right? If you find your faith, right, that you are really convinced with, you've got a purpose, right? And you've got a purpose that is bigger than this life, because it always depresses it, right? What comes in the way of happiness, right? The most common psychological problems come from two things: depression and conflict, right? Depression comes when you don't get what you want, right? You get frustrated. And conflict, you get conflict if you want too many things and you don't know which to prioritize.
Yeah. That's what it was.
And faith will solve both of these problems beautifully for you, right? Because faith, if you have faith, you are not going to have depression, as you said, because you are working for a higher purpose and you don't mind whether it will be achieved or not, right? So I'm going to go there, or I'm going to die trying. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Right? There are so great people, who might not have won the battle on this earth, but they have died trying, and they are honored for it. You know what
Absolutely,
I mean?
Man.
So I have, someone higher who actually appreciates what I do, no matter of what I really achieve. I'm not after a certain worldly achievement. I am actually seeking the consent and the appreciation of a higher being, right? So you cannot get depressed. You will have you can actually read Man's Search for Meaning, right, by Viktor Frankl, right? So people who have a purpose, right, they can go through the ultimate difficulties without getting a depression, right? Because you have that strong faith inside them, right? But when you don't have that, you start getting sick. Then you've got conflict, all right? Faith will also get you away from conflict because you have one big purpose that encompasses everything else, right? So in your life, you study, you have family, you have some possessions, you learn, you do so many things in your life, but all will actually pour in the end into one stream. Right? That is one person, the one thing, right? Nothing is bigger than that. So, you cannot have conflict between, okay, whether to, for example, shall I continue my studies or shall I, get married? All right, look, you have one thing, see which takes priority according to, your